All right, welcome to the Expletive Jets. I'm Gemma. So today we're talking about first preseason game versus Tampa Bay. You can feel it. Season's coming up around the corner. Really exciting. Uh, Result of the first game, 16-24 loss. It doesn't matter. I mean, the outcome of the game is determined by guys who aren't going to be not only not playing but not on the team anyway. A lot of guys getting cut, obviously. Still early in camp. So the real idea behind this is to focus on individual play and big picture, look at trends, things we notice now that we're going to expect to see in the regular season. So before we get onto those performances, um, quite a few notables that did not play for the Jets. Obviously, Geno Smith dealing with a foot injury. I think it's just overly cautious, not wanting to risk farther injury and have to force Kate Klubnik to be starting early in the season. So letting Geno get some rest. Other two that was really disappointing to not see play was Kangan Sadiq and D'Angelo Pons, your two of your top four picks in this year's draft, two rookies that are getting a lot of hype and expected to play major roles this year. So to not have either one of them suit up and play it's a little disappointing. But again, no worries or big concerns on their injuries and availability for the start of the regular season. A couple others are Isaiah Davis, kind of that third running back in the trio of Brees and Braylon. And we're going to talk more about the running back room specifically in this video, so I'll hold off on speaking about him much more. And T'Vondre Sweat, the nose tackle they acquired from Tennessee, that's another not big loss, but just disappointed to not see him getting reps. Hopefully him and the others are back soon. I think T'Vondre Sweat's going to be a really big factor on this defensive line. I mean, he's a big body, Meatloaf, the nickname, so I'm really happy the Jets acquired him, and I'm excited to see him play. Other guys on the defensive line that didn't play, Joseph Osai and Kingsley Enagbare, both who they acquired in free agency, both edge, which I think impacted some personnel decisions in this game, and we'll talk about that too. So the first person I want to start with, I'm going to talk about Brees Hall because I'm recording this on Monday following the game that was played on Friday. And today, Brees Hall got hurt in practice. Groin strain is what they're saying so far. Aaron Glenn said he's not too concerned. Brees did walk off the field under his own power. And, he'll get evaluated for further testing. He's got 27 days until week one. So I think that's plenty of time to get him healthy. As far as what is moving forward, I don't think you're going to see him in preseason games. Unless it's really nothing, I think you're going to see even less of him. To me, it's more important that he's participating in camp at practice. We don't have to put him out on the field. We know pretty much what Brees Hall is. And if he's getting the reps not in these games, it shouldn't make too much of a difference. But obviously, if he is healthy and you want to put him out there for a drive like they did this game, go for it. And he looked good against Tampa Bay. 4 carries, 16 yards, a long of 14. Had a chance at the end zone, but seemed to trip up on the turf as he was coming around the corner. And, he just kind of skidded his way out of bounds. But otherwise, he looked good. He was running hard. And again, we know what Brees Hall is. He's consistent, and it's the reason he got paid. And I'm glad that's a contract that they worked out. But yeah, he looked good for game one, and hopefully he's back on the practice field really soon, which is what it sounds like it will be. So let's talk about some of those other standouts. First team reps, guys. Cade Klubnik. I mean, obviously he's not going to be our starting quarterback. That's what Geno Smith is here for. But look, Cade got 2 drives with the first with starters and some second-tier guys that second drive, but he looked good. 5 for 7, 56 yards. I mean, he didn't force anything. He took what was given to him. He looked poised, and I think a lot of that is to attribute to the offensive line. That starting group, they did a great job of protecting him. They gave him plenty of time to go through his reads, make decisions, and there were some times where you saw him scrambling and rolling out, which I think was good. And I think Frank Reich did a great job of helping him get settled and giving him easy targets. One of those easy targets being Mason Taylor, who he went to early. First play of the game, they had him roll out, and Mason Taylor kind of like a little speed out, dumps it off as he's rolling out to space, Cade, and Mason Taylor gets a first down. I think things like that just make it really easy on a young quarterback, and he executed. Again, it's also hard to evaluate. I'm not overhyping him because Tampa Bay didn't put out much of their starters in this game. And look, it doesn't matter. You're going up against who you're going up against, and the important thing is that you're executing and making plays for any of these guys. So Cade Klubnik, really happy with what I saw. And what it seems like is that the number 2 quarterback job is his. It's his to lose, but we'll get into that. I don't think it is. I think he is going to be the guy behind Geno, which is why it's so important that you keep Geno healthy and don't force Cade Klubnik having to play, especially early on in the season, unless they do decide to bring an outside vet, which we'll discuss. Garrett Wilson is that dude. First time he catches the ball, it's a highlight catch, and I think you just forget about him, forget about how good he is because he only played those first 7 games last year, and he looks good. He looks healthy. He looks like he's Garrett Wilson, and we love Garrett Wilson. So glad to have him back. He made a great catch on that third down, and Cade Klubnik found him. It wasn't a great throw by Cade, but he knew where to go with the football. He knows it's third down. Who am I going to go to? Garrett Wilson. It says a lot. So just Garrett Wilson, 2 catches. The other catch coming up on a third down again, 32 yards. He looked good. And he was targeted again at the end of the drive in the end zone on third down again. So kind of that pattern of Cade Klubnik's like, all right, it's third down. Where am I going with this football? It seems like the answer is Garrett Wilson, which I feel like we would scream at Zach Wilson years ago, throw it to Garrett Wilson. Why are you not throwing to Garrett Wilson? So Cade Klubnik off to a better start than some other rookies and younger guys who the Jets had to play quarterback. Braylon Allen I'm including him with the first team. I know he went in there on the second drive following Breece Hall, but Braylon Allen is a guy who's going to get touches this year. I think he and Isaiah Davis, who's not healthy at the moment, are going to be the next 2 running backs behind Breece that are going to get touches in games, and they're going to be important ones. And he looked good. 4 carries, 44 yards. He had the long 31-yard touchdown to cap off the second drive. So that's promising, And Braylon Allen, again, another guy coming off of injury, and he looks good. I know Braylon Allen gets a lot of hype every preseason, this being year 3, and every year you look at him and he's got that build. He just looks like a physically imposing running back, which he is, but he never kind of lives up to the hype. So hopefully this year, those touches he gets, whether he's 2 or 3, I think him and Isaiah Davis, there's still some fluidity there, and it's not determined who's going to be number 2 behind Breece yet. But hopefully when his number's called, he's a good, consistent back. And now with Breece Hall going down and Isaiah Davis, I'm not sure about his status moving forward, if he'll be ready for this week 2 of the preseason. Braylon Allen's going to have more opportunity to shine, and that's good for Braylon Allen. Like I said, him and Isaiah Davis, I think they're in a pretty tight race for that running back 2 spot, and obviously they're both going to be competing for it, so we'll see. I'm excited to see him moving forward. I kind of touched on him, but I just want to reiterate, the offensive line again looked good. Keeping Cade Klubnik clean, Armand Membu, Olufashanu, Joe Tittman, Myers, Parham, that as a group, they looked pretty solid. No penalties, no glaringly bad mistakes or missed blocks that I can think of. So good to see. The depth behind them didn't look great later in the game, so hopefully we can stay healthy again like we did last year, where we had all 5 starters for 17 games. But yeah, all in all, that first group, those first 2 drives of offense, which was made up of guys who are going to be getting significant playing time. Our starters and those second-tier guys looked good. Defensively, Will McDonald opening up the first drive, ending it with a sack. Awesome to see. I know, obviously, David Bailey, a lot of attention is turned to him. He was picked second overall for a reason. But, I think it's important to remind ourselves, we still got Will McDonald, who hasn't been terrible, but, again, he was drafted also pretty highly. Not as high as David Bailey, but to be where he was drafted, I think people are expecting more. And I think that's why they drafted David Bailey this year, is because they needed a better edge rush. They brought in Joseph Osai, Kingsley Enagbare, obviously. So I think Will McDonald's feeling some of that pressure of his job is on the chopping block. Not that he's going to get cut or anything, but after this season, is he going to be coming back with the Jets? I don't know. So I think this is a big year for him. This is a contract year for him to prove that he's worth money and a commitment. So him having that sack, again, was it the Bucs' first team O-line? No, it was their third string quarterback as well. To me, it doesn't matter. It was a bull rush. He showed strength, power. He did what he was supposed to do against lesser competition, right? I can't fault the guy for getting a sack because it wasn't the Bucs' number ones. He did what he was supposed to do. Awesome. Kind of speaking on Will McDonald, the defensive line in general, I thought that first group, him, David Bailey, Juwan Briggs, Harrison Phillips, even Darryl Jackson, I think he came in there a little bit later. They looked like a good group. David Onyemata, like those guys up front that were in there early on, they looked good. And I was curious because a lot of people were thinking that you wouldn't see Bailey and Will McDonald lined up on opposite sides of each other. People thought, people are thinking that when you have the full health of the defensive line, Osai and Enagbare back, that it's going to be one or the other, David Bailey or Will McDonald. David Bailey or Will McDonald. And I don't know if we should get used to seeing them both on the field at the same time, but I kind of liked it. I mean, the two of them were screaming off the ends, getting pressure, forcing Balzik, whatever his name was, the third-string Tampa Bay quarterback, to step up in the pocket. And I think, again, if you put a big body, Tavondre Sweat, Harrison Phillips, Juwan Briggs, they're in the center, that can be a pretty suffocating defensive line. But we'll see what happens going forward with when they go to full health and all those guys are back, if they're going to run Will McDonald and David Bailey alongside one another. Just something I noticed, something that I'm intrigued about. Secondary, AZ, he was involved in the first two drives. Looked like he was part of some pass breakups and tackles. I mean, Minka obviously stood out to me. They sent him blitzing, and that's another thing I noticed is that the secondary was involved a lot in pressure. Seems like that's something that we're going to see a lot this year is Aaron Glenn sending corners, safeties, and, first play of the game, Minka Fitzpatrick is blitzing. It's just, I guess, cool to see, a little bit different than the approach last year that Steve Wilkes had going for them, which was pretty bland and whatnot. So we'll see how that continues. As far as the secondary goes, and I'll talk more about some of those guys in the second group because there was some impressive play, but I think there's a fairly open competition right now. You have, obviously, Minka as your starting safety. I know Andre Sisco is playing alongside him as the other one, as more that free safety. But I don't think he's a lock. Dane Belton has been having a pretty solid camp. So that's pretty open. As far as cornerbacks, I don't think Brandon Stevens, did anything. He didn't do anything in this game. I know he's kind of locked in as a starting corner right now. But, again, Pons is hurt, and I'm interested to see what he does. And Sean Wright also did not play in this game, the corner they acquired from Chicago, who was second in interceptions last year in the NFL. So I think that's a totally open backfield. That defensive backfield is still being sorted out. You got Jarvis Brownlee. So who's slot, who's outside? What's that rotation going to look like? And especially some of those guys on the back end of it too, like Malachi Moore, who is playing mostly with third stringers. It's interesting right now, and I think there's a lot to be sorted out back there. not too impressive. That starting group for me was the secondary, which is a little concerning. The other starting group to mention, which a lot of people overlook, but special teams. I was impressed by Jamal Pritchett. It seems Isaiah Williams has worked his way up into that starting wide receiver group. Right now, he is, I think, the number 3. It goes Garrett, Adonai, Isaiah, and the rookie Omar Cooper Jr., who I'll get to in a minute, is kind of that 4th guy, teetering on the edge of Tier 1 and Tier 2 right now. And Jamal Pritchett, that opened up a spot in the return game. I guess they don't want to have Isaiah Williams returning kicks if he's going to be instrumental to the offense, the offensive receiving core. So Jamal Pritchett on punt returns, he looked good. He made guys miss. Nothing crazy, nothing like a touchdown return, but he did a good job back there, and I was impressed. And then later on in the game, when he was in there with Brady Cook, and he was a pretty reliable target, made some good receptions. So Jets special teams, punt return looks good. Their kickoff unit, this was more on Tampa Bay. They muff it, or the guy drops it right on the goal line. The ball's sitting at the 1. They make a good play, swarming around the ball. Later in the game, Austin McNamara pins him right on the 1. McLean, I think, is the wide receiver that made a great effort, tipped the ball back. And they, again, get Tampa Bay pinned deep in their own end. Austin McNamara is an awesome punter. Unfortunately, we saw too much of him last year, but we all love him. And he looks like he's back to being a great punter. So awesome that special teams looked solid again. Chris Banjo's got another good unit, I think. And Jamal Pritchett, maybe he'll be the latest threat in that return game, because we know how explosive and important that was for the Jets last season. All right, some second-team guys that I thought were worth mentioning. Omar Cooper Jr., again, he came in that second drive, and he stayed in the game fairly late through most of the third quarter. He only had 2 receptions. Why I thought it was worth noting is when he first came in, very first play, Cade Klubnik went to him. Garrett Wilson, Adonai, Isaiah Williams aren't on the field. Where's the ball going? It's going to Omar Cooper Jr. And he looked good. He had another catch later on. I wonder too if he wasn't more involved because he was playing with Bailey Zappi and Brady Cook, who I'll discuss in a bit. But he had that second catch he had during a 2-minute drill at a pretty critical point to end the first half. He caught a nice, I think it was like a 21-yard catch or 15-yard catch, 5-yard run afterwards. So he's a good target, and I think right now, he's slated as that 4th wide receiver. He's, I think, still working on developing his route tree, but a lot of promise there, and I'm not worried about it. I think he'll get his touches as the season goes on. He also drew that pass interference, which was waved off in the end zone to cap off that halftime because the ball was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Nwangu, I guess I'll mention too. Obviously, with Brees hurting his groin today in practice and Isaiah Davis out, I'm not sure their timetable to return. So next game, he might be the second running back after Braylon Allen, which is awesome for him, gives him an opportunity. So interested to see how that looks. Defensively, I'm sure if you're a Jets fan, you've heard it. Mo Bamba, baby. 4 pass breakups, had a huge play on special teams, lighting a guy up. Look, I don't think Maury Bamba is going to be a starting corner for this Jets team. Like I said, I think that's an open competition back there, but it's a pretty filled room as it is. But could he make this team as a special teams guy? Heck yeah. I mean, if you're going to be able to make plays as a corner in preseason and then make plays on special teams, you're a valuable asset to this team. And I wonder, too, if this is a guy where Chris Banjo is going to say, I want him, I need him for my special teams, and Aaron Glenn's going to have to say, okay, yeah, I'll concede. So we'll see. Obviously, he's a UDFA guy, so he's going to need to continue to prove it. It's going to need to take more than just one preseason game. But, I mean, he was kind of the story. It was on no one's radar, and all of a sudden, Mo Bamba, baby. That's who we're talking about. McCrary Ball, linebacker, I guess he was flying around. He was involved in some tackles. I'll give him some flowers for that. I think it's an important role, that third linebacker, because that is a weak point for this Jets team. So he's gonna get reps. Obviously, he'll be more of a special teams guy, but DeMario and am I blanking? Um, oh my gosh. It'll come to me. But anyway, McCrary Ball, third linebacker. Good to see him getting better. It's gonna bother me now. Another mention, Jordan Clark, another defensive back depth guy who's been around with the Jets for the last couple of years. He was flying around too, made some tackles, made some good plays. He almost caused an interception. There was a little dump off screen. He read it perfectly, lit the guy up as the ball arrived. But in classic Jets fashion, the ball goes up and lands in a Bucs player's hands. I mean, it was a no gain, but it would have been nice for the Jets to get a turnover. But still the Jets. All right. Some other things I noticed, because that's pretty much who I noticed, who I thought was important, who played well. I guess now we'll talk into some things that I thought were funny. The MetLife turf, LOL to that. Like I said, Brees slipped. I noticed a play where Braylon slipped. Pritchett slipped on a punt return. So it seems like the MetLife turf is still a bugaboo. Just made me kind of laugh. Bailey Zappi, LOL. He is terrible. After that performance, I think just give more reps to Brady Cook. See if Brady Cook's not going to make the roster, but he could be a practice squad guy. I'd imagine they might bring in a vet that gets cut in the next couple of weeks, but not to take Cade Klubnik's number 2 spot. I think they might take a vet to be that third quarterback just in case. So we'll see moving forward what happens with the quarterback room. But, yeah, Bailey Zappi should be cut. I mean, next game I expect Cade Klubnik to get... I hope he gets more than just 2 drives. I'm intrigued by him. I want to see him play more. So maybe he'll get, 3-4 drives, maybe more, honestly. I'd be okay with seeing him play more. But then please don't put Bailey Zappi out there for anything significant. I'd rather you jump to Brady Cook. Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith. He might be a guy, the wide receiver they drafted last year in the 4th round, might be a guy that gets cut. I mean, the one good play Bailey Zappi had, he rolls out, gets away from pressure. It's the second drive of Bailey Zappi's performance, and hits Aaron Smith in the hands, and it gets picked off. So, not defending Bailey Zappi, but Aaron Smith is not. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's. I don't know. I don't know how he fits on this roster. Like I said, you have your top 3 are Garrett Wilson, Adonai Mitchell, Isaiah Williams, and then you go to the next group: Omar Cooper Jr., Tim Patrick. That's 5 wide receivers already. I think Pritchett has proven himself as a pretty solid return man and a better receiver, honestly. That's 6 wide receivers. What are we keeping Aaron Smith for? I don't know. Because he didn't make any plays on special teams, so don't know. Other thing, the field goal competition between Cade York and Sanders. It looked like Cade York's field goal to end the second half was wide right. He was awarded the 3 points. Good for him. Sanders did hit a 47-yarder from, so that was the farther of the 2 field goals. I think you go with Sanders. I think he's the more sure guy. He's been in the league longer. So we'll see. Obviously, they're going to continue to fight that out. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was just nice to see the Jets play football again. The outcome doesn't matter. We're watching to see who's going to be impactful this year. It's good to see guys that were back from injury look healthy, look good. I think Cade Klubnik's a fun development to watch. And, I'm ready for preseason game 2. So, yeah, if there's anyone I missed, please reach out to me. Let me know if you think I overlooked someone. And if there's anything else you guys are interested in, let me know. Any developing stories you think I should know about or touch on, reach out. You see the email on the screen. All right, guys, till next time.